Yes, what can I do for you, ex-Muslim?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you
thank
hear
you.
me?
Yes, thank you.
Someone who left Islam.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you a basic question that I ask to every ex-Muslim. First, can you tell me because I just want to make sure that this is the case. You do seem like someone who was, but let's just like ask this question. How many rak'ahs are in wudu?
Rak'ahs in wudu.
Yes.
There is no rak'ahs in wudu. Wudu, you do it before you pray.
Uh-huh. So what do you wash first when you do wudu?
What?
What do you do when you do wudu? What do you do?
First is the mouth.
You do your
You
mouth first?
Yes.
No. Okay. Okay. That's
Well,
incorrect.
I
Right.
if I forgot, then sorry, because it was a long
I don't
time
know.
ago.
I can tell you're North African. I can tell you're North African, either Algerian or Moroccan. That's irrelevant. But
I'm
that
I'm
shows.
Moroccan.
Yeah,
I'm
that's fine. You're
Moroccan.
Moroccan. Okay, clear. So you that shows that even though you claim you were a Muslim, you didn't know the very basic practice of Islam, which you cannot pray without, and every Muslim needs to pray,
Trust me.
which is how to start. Wait. Just I'm just clarifying one thing because you were incorrect saying you have to wash your mouth first. That shows that the people who say I left Islam were not really understanding the basics of Islam yet to even say you left Islam. How do you even say you left Islam
Well,
when you don't know how to do wudu?
trust me, I did know before. It's been a long time. I
Oh,
didn't
you wouldn't
pray.
forget my. I'll tell you why you wouldn't forget my friend because you pray 5 times a day. So when you pray, you have to do
I
wudu,
wasn't I
and
wasn't
and
praying
when you do
five
wudu
times a
every
day.
day, if you it doesn't matter. You do wudu. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you are not knowledgeable of the basics of the religion of Islam. So I'm surprised that you even use the term ex-Muslim because were you really a Muslim in the meaning and the sense of the word?
Well,
Were you really
if you
ever a
wanna
Muslim?
assume if you wanna assume my identity, I
No,
don't
I'm
know
asking
if
you. I'm
it's like.
asking. That's a question, actually. Were you is a question. So were you actually even a Muslim in the meaning and the sense of the word? When you were, if you didn't pray 5 times a day, if you didn't practice the religion, how can you even be a Muslim in the meaning and the sense of the word?
In some
Okay,
period of time, I did pray 5 times a day. I was
then you will remember
always
wudu.
all of us.
Then you remember wudu.
Well,
Anyways,
but I'm
okay,
sorry for
look.
my. It's quite stressful situation here. I might
No, that's fine,
again.
but you would remember wudu if you prayed 5 times a day. You would
Maybe
look.
I
You
would
would never
think like
mistake. You would never
we would
mistake that you
like.
did your mouth first with anything
No,
else.
no.
Yes.
Maybe it was like this, and then
So it was the arms first.
maybe I really
Okay,
it's been a
that's
long
also
time.
wrong. That's also wrong.
It's been a long time.
That's fine.
I'm
It's just
sorry.
as I said,
I'm
that's
sorry.
just look. There's nothing to apologize for. I'm just highlighting not for you. I'm highlighting for the people who are viewers. That in reality, usually the people who leave Islam, it's either for emotional reasons or that they have no even they were not even Muslims in the sense and the meaning of the word. The basics of Islam they've not understood, they've not practiced. They were not Muslims in the meaning and the sense of the word, so they can leave it anyways. But okay, let's get into you now. So, can you put your hand? This is a question I asked to the people who leave Islam. You put your hand here and say, okay, this is the reason I left Islam.
Okay.
Do you have a reason? This is a question. Do you have like a specific reason, specific thing? You can say, oh, this is why Islam is false, or I left Islam, or whatever. Do you have that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us what that is.
Well, for me, it was more about finding some. I could say slavery in Islam. It wasn't so pleasing to me to know that. Can I use the term my prophet?
No, but is he your prophet? You just said you're not a Muslim.
Yeah, but I was a Muslim, so can I say my
Oh,
ex?
I no, just say the prophet. It's fine.
Okay,
All right.
the prophets used
Yes.
to have slaves or
Yes.
trade slaves.
Okay.
It's kind of had like a question in my mind if he like knew
Okay.
if it's
Let me ask
slavery.
this then. Let me
Yeah.
ask this question then. If that question was clarified for you, then after what are you going to do? If that was the reason that made you think that Islam is not the truth, if that reason was clarified, what is the course of action that you're going to take?
Well, maybe I would. consider my well, it's not only that situation, but let's
But that's the
say
main thing you said. You said
I've
that's.
been
Remember,
let's say
I asked you the question where you will put your hand and say, "Do you get what my question was?" So that was the reason. So if that is dealt with, then what?
well, if you answer all my questions,
Uh-huh.
then there is no point of refusing the
Do you know
religion.
the number of? Do you know the number of the questions that you have?
I could say that there is couple of questions, but
Couple is
I
two.
don't think I can like. So it's kind
Couple.
of like, so my friend is a big fan of yours,
Okay.
and he like suggested to me that
Yes.
you do like a live and you host non-Muslims.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
just like it was like random. I told him, he
Sure.
sent me a link like
Do you know why I
an hour
asked you? Do you
ago.
know how many questions you have? Because when you don't know how many questions you have, then you just essentially pretending with all. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I'm
Can
saying the
I
people
can
who do
I
that.
can I explain how I
Uh-huh.
got to this situation so you
Yeah,
can
that's
have like a
that's fine.
general
Go
okay.
ahead.
So I've had like a non it was like an atheist friend
Okay.
that he was also a Muslim in the terms of like Moroccan Muslim, like I don't know if
Yeah.
it's like real
Yes.
practices and
Uh-huh.
everything, but so we had like a debate. I was like the one who's trying to convince him that the religion is right and you're wrong.
Uh-huh.
And he just like kept telling me some stuff that seemed illogical to him. But I didn't go along with him, so I just stopped talking to him and I continued my research for proving that my religion is right. So as long as I kept searching about the topics that he made relevant, like for example slavery and
Uh-huh.
um,
You didn't find the answers that you were looking for.
well, I found some answers like
They were
in
not.
the
Yeah. So they were not
Sahih.
satisfying. They were not
I was
satisfying.
I
They were
was
not
I was
convincing.
not satisfied by
Yes.
the things that
That's fine.
I've seen, you know.
Sure. So
So
that's how you
it
got to
just
where you are, is what you say.
so that situation, it just like blocked me from practicing my because I used to pray. I trust me, I used
Uh-huh.
to pray. I used to pray,
Sure.
and it just stopped me from doing my practices and started questioning like everything,
Uh-huh.
and then I've just like started like
Leaving
ignoring
everything.
religion
Yes.
and
Yes. Yes. Yes.
believing and
Sure. Okay. Sure. You know, you remind me of a verse in the Quran where Allah Azza wa Jal says about the person is going to be in hellfire. He says, "Inni kana li qareen." You know, I used to have a qareen, someone who was very close to you, always with you all the time, right? يقول
I understand
وإنك
Arabic.
yeah, يقول وإنك لمن المصدقين. He says that there's many people who don't. We gotta explain. يقول وإنك لمن المصدقين. He says that qareen, that friend, kept telling him, "Are you are one of those believers? أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما." If we die, are we going to be resurrected? Oh, our forefathers. So basically, essentially, how that friend, quote unquote friend, because friends weren't good for you, and that was not a friend, took a person away. And that should be a lesson for the people watching, is that the people you surround yourself with can have the influence in your life that takes you all the way from here to here. And that was also a response to those people who talk about apostasy laws and apostasy punishments and all of that, of how one person can take people away from the truth, and it is the truth, by just asking them questions or telling them things while they've not done the research, they don't know, did not ask the right sources. So that's very important, I think, for people to understand. Now let's deal quickly with this couple of questions that you have. First, the idea of slavery. There's no such thing as slavery in Islam. There isn't
Okay.
such a thing as slavery in Islam. Prophet ﷺ, he said explicitly in a hadith, do not say abdi or amati. You cannot say abdi, cannot say my slave. So he prohibited us from using that term because slavery, in the sense of the word that everyone understands, if you go now Google slavery, for instance, you'll see definitions saying that you own a human being, for instance. You own a human being, you have a position, an owning of that person. And then you have forced labor on that individual. You have forced labor. You force that person to do labor. You lash them. They have no dignity. That does not exist in the religion of Islam at all. Okay? So you take someone who's free, after you take them, you kidnap them and then you enslave them. That's what slavery is. You take a free person, you kidnap them, you enslave them, they become your property, you have forced labor on them, you hit them, you do all of it. That is the definition of what everyone understands with the word slavery, and that does not exist in Islam. What exists in Islam is something called milk al-yamin, and they are captives of war. Milk al-yamin, or right-hand position, are specifically to do with being captives of war. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ told us that there are three people that Allah will be enemy of on the Day of Judgment. One of them is he takes that free person and then he makes him a slave. That's prohibited in Islam. Only in the case of war, you allow me to finish the complete explanation. And then, because I probably would respond to what you want to say after I'm done, right?
I would take notes then.
That's fine. Take notes. That's okay. So he said that you take a free person and you make them a slave. Now, the only open door. So when Islam came, slavery already existed in the Roman Empire, existed throughout history. Islam did not introduce slavery. Slavery was a part of society. It was in existence. Islam regulated slavery and removed that term slavery and introduced something completely different, which is the concept of milk al-yamin, which is now it can only be opened through war. Now you have a war with an army. Two armies are fighting: the Muslim army and a non-Muslim army. Now, not everyone that you take and you capture becomes a milk al-yamin. Actually, the leader of the Muslim army decides. So Islam restricted it two ways. In first way, only kept it in captives of war. The second way is that even captives of war do not have to be taken as milk al-yamin. The leader of the Muslims can do different things. He can let them go free, like the Prophet ﷺ did after the conquest of Mecca. He can exchange them for other prisoners. He can ransom them for money. فَإِمَّا مَنًّا بَعْدُ وَإِمَّا فِدَاءً. So you can either you let them go free, or for that you can exchange them with other, as the Quran explicitly mentions, or you can explicitly change them with prisoners, oil, money, etc. Or you can take them as milk al-yamin, or you can kill them. It depends, because they're coming to kill you. They're coming to take your life. It was war. They were coming to kill you. So these are all options, and the leader of the Muslims will make the decision that is most beneficial for the people, for the Muslims, for the nation. What is most beneficial for Muslims in general, he will take that decision. It depends on the situation, it depends on these people, and what is most beneficial. Now, when you take these people who are captives of war, what happens to them? You take those captives of war. What is the dealing that happens with them? Let's say I took one captive of war. That captive of war can be man or woman, either or. You take that person. That individual, how do you deal with them? The Prophet Muhammed ﷺ told us how you deal with them. He said that person, you clothe them from the same cloth that you wear. So if you wear, Armani, you're gonna give them. You're gonna give your what people call slave. I don't know what slave you give them Armani, but because there's no such thing as slavery in Islam. So you would give that milk al-yamin Armani. If you wear Armani, they will wear Armani. You feed them from what you eat. You eat caviar in the morning, caviar. You give them some caviar in the morning with some orange juice or whatever you have in your breakfast. So the Prophet said you clothe them, and the Prophet said if you overburden them in work, so they will help in duties, of course, because they're milk al-yamin, they're living now in your house. You're feeding them, you're clothing them. It has to be something that they're doing in return. So they will be helping you either in work or house labors or whatever it is. So they're helping you in return of the fact that you're living in your house, eating from your food, living under your roof, being clothed from the same thing that you're wearing. And the Prophet said if you overburden them, you have to help them. So you have to make sure that you're not overburdening them in work. Now, can you hit them? No, because as we said, there's no such thing as slavery. The expiation, if you hit a servant, that you let them go free. And there's a narration of hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where a person did that. He hit milk al-yamin, the Prophet ﷺ forced him to let that person go free. That is the expiation for the action that you did. You cannot hit them. They're not like you're going to have a lash. You're going to lash them. You're going to have this whip and you're going to whip them. This is not it. It doesn't exist. So these people are taken as captive of war. They helped you. Now, do you own these people or can they go free? You do not own them because they can go free. They can choose to go free. Do you know how they can choose to go free? There is something in the Quran called mukataba. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, فَكَاتِبُوهُمْ إِنْ عَلِمْتُمْ فِيهُمْ خَيْرًا وَآتُوهُمْ مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ الَّذِي آتَاكُمْ. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says there's something called mukataba, in which a person who is milk al-yamin can ransom himself and go free. Now, he can, in exchange of money, he can go to a Muslim judge. And at the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, there was someone who did not want to do that. And Umar ibn al-Khattab told him to do it. Allah says in the Quran, and he mentioned the verse, فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا. So he wants to go free. So he goes to a judge, Muslim judge. He gives money, and in exchange of that, he goes free. So Allah says, if you know in that person goodness, that they're a good person, they're not going to go, if you let them go free, going to kill and rape and steal and do evil. If they're a good person, then let them go free. And Allah says, وَآتُوهُم. So you help them with money. فَآتُوهُم مِّن مَالِ اللَّهِ الَّذِي آتَاكُم. You even help them to go free if they want to ransom themselves and go free. So it's not like that these people, you got no choice, that this is the only place that they can be. And they actually have the freedom and the choice to go free if they want to go free. Now, if they still choose to remain, the treatment will be, as we said, they're clothed from the same clothing you wear. They're fed from the same food that you eat. Cannot overburden them in work. If it is not inherited as well. Milk al-yamin is not inherited, not like slavery. That you have a child and then that child is also milk al-yamin because you are milk al-yamin. That's not the case. It's not the case in Islam because it's not inherited. So whatever that is, whatever this understanding that I just gave you for milk al-yamin is, it has nothing to do with the definition or understanding that people have of the word slavery. So that slavery does not exist in Islam. Yes, what do you want to say?
So I just wanted to say, are they like free to go? And also you mentioned
I just told you about mukataba. Did you pay attention to that?
Yes, I've paid attention. I didn't know about that. But so in the modern term of slavery, they are not slaves.
The word slave is incorrect. Is the incorrect usage.
It's incorrect.
Because the people understand.
No, they're called milk al-yamin. Okay.
Milk al-yamin. That's the term that we are told to use Islamically. The Prophet said you cannot use the term slave, actually. So it's incorrect. You cannot use that term.
So, well, there has been like an incident in the في عصر الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, and it was like the Prophet gave like 7 heads for Safiya bint Yahya, which is
Safiya bint Huyay. Safiya bint Huyay, not bint Yahya.
Bint Huyay. Okay.
Yes. She was the leader of the leader of the Jewish tribe.
And was she like Malik al-Yamin?
Was she Milk al-Yamin? No, she married the Prophet ﷺ. She was freed and she married the Prophet ﷺ. So she was taken as a captive first, but then she was freed and she willingly married the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, as did Zainab, as did others. Now you're saying the Prophet gifted her Milk al-Yamin. What is the issue? No issue.
No. The issue is,
or like, I don't know what you mean by 7 heads. I don't, if you're referring to Milk al-Yamin or something else. But what is the issue that you're trying to say?
No, the issue that I'm trying to highlight is that the Prophet traded like
no problem.
Seven
you are allowed. Yes, you are allowed to exchange and trade when it comes to Milk al-Yamin. There's no issues on that. But as I said, those Milk al-Yamin, if you as a Milk al-Yamin have an issue, you can always go and free yourself by doing mukataba. Let's say you have an issue, you're not happy with whoever that person is. He's not doing right towards you, and Islam commands them that they have to, like the Prophet ﷺ told you. You can go and do mukataba. Where's the issue? But now let's pay close attention. Now let's pay close attention. How do you become? No. How do you become Milk al-Yamin?
By war. Like if
How do you become? How do you become? Yes.
How they became Milk al-Yamin?
Yes.
It's through war. If Muslims win
so what were they trying to do? So what were they trying to do?
Huh?
So what were they trying to do originally, before they became Milk al-Yamin? What were they trying to do to you?
They were fighting the Muslims.
Which is doing what? Trying to do what?
It was a war.
Yeah. So they're trying to kill you. So that same person that you're supposed to feed from the same food that you eat, clothe from the same clothing that you have, is in reality a person who is coming to kill you. So if you expect a person who's coming to kill you, there's no issues, like a little bit of work.
I really truly understand this issue.
Let's just be realistic.
When we are talking about war, there has to be rules. Otherwise, your enemy is gonna have leverage over you.
All right. Do you know how every other nation or every other people or religion in human history deals with captives of war? Do you know how they do it?
I know that they are more barbaric than
no. More barbaric is a beautifying it. Let's try to compare Islam now to any other religion, whether that be Christianity and Judaism, which believes that that person is property. You can beat him half death. And if he dies the next day, there is no problem because he's your property. So you can beat them, can overwork them. They are your own property. You can go to the extent of literally murdering them. As I just said, if they die the next day, there's no issues. You can do whatever you want to them. They are your property. You just got them. Why? Because they were coming and kill you. This is a justification. Now, someone coming complaining about Islam, the most merciful teaching that could be possibly to captives of war, and there is nothing else in human, no other ideology in human existence that is more merciful than it. Even today, secular laws, what do they do to captives of war?
But still the problem is that they are not really free to go. And we are talking about
how they? Oh no, wait. This shows wait. This just shows that you're not being sincere.
Huh?
This shows you're not listening or you're not being sincere.
No, did I tell you they are free to go by mukasaba?
Yes. So how is that not free to go?
It just
why don't you do mukasaba then?
Well, how are you gonna do mukasaba if you're just being
why not? What's the problem?
Well, the idea is just I've had like a high expectations when I was
but I'm sorry, with all due respect, nobody is concerned about your expectation. Like religion is not based on your expectations, right?
It's okay,
we're living a reality.
I'm talking about when I was a Muslim, you know.
Yes, no. But
I had this perfect imagination about God.
That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Let's just highlight a few things. Can they go free with mukataba if they want it?
As you said, yes. I didn't know about that.
Okay, there you go. Now you know. Okay. Is every other ideology that we see today or we've seen before way worse in every metric when it comes to captives of war? Yes or no? No, they're not worse?
No, they were worse.
They are. No, I'm asking you. I'm just asking you. Yeah, no, I'm asking you. Is every other ideology still worse when it comes to captives of war than what Islam ever teaches, even until this day? Is it worse or not in the treatment and the dealing and whatever it teaches regarding captives of war?
I'm not that knowledgeable, but as you said, they were worse than the Islam, and I trust your word.
No. Well, I get no problem. The Christianity and Judaism already the reference is given. Like this, you don't need to. It's easily Googleable in 2 minutes. You know what I was just telling you. That's a fact. And I'm talking about even secular laws today. I just told you, even secular laws today. Go watch what happens to people when they get captives of war. Go have a look. They get killed, but get killed after what? After everything is done to them. Whatever you want to do to them, you do to them. And then once you do that,
Islam also,
you know what's happening. You know what's happening today. You know what's happening today. There is captives who were killed, but that not what happens to them before they're getting killed. You have today, may Allah Azza wa Jal free our brothers and sisters in Palestine. You see what they were going to actual grape of prisoners. We're not just talking about like they do, and they were doing, the actions of homosexuals. They're not just doing like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, I understand.
This is today in 2024 under the UN laws and all of this garbage that they say. This is what happens today. So if anyone wants to talk about Islam, you probably, with all due respect, will need a bunch of 2 slaps on the face first and look at every other existence and civilization in human history before you talk about Islam.
I'm pro-human, you know, so I don't know why I'm against everyone who is trying to hurt like.
No. This is the point. You are against everything and everyone. Like you think that we gotta go with your butterfly standards. Nobody needs to. Islam. People who are coming to kill you. It is very fair to kill them back in retribution, but not mutilate them and do all of these things that you do to them. Do literally every human possible thing before you kill them. That's not allowed in Islam, but it is allowed in other quote-unquote ideologies until this day. So Islam, in reality, nobody can complain about Islam when it comes to captives of war, never left or right or center. This is the reality. And as I said, they can go free. So where is really the argument that you're making?
The argument that I'm making is God did not forbid.
Why does he need to? That is such a ridiculous. Wait. Let me respond to that before removing you, because you clearly are not sincere. If we live in Morocco, let's say we live in Morocco, and slavery is a part of society. Let's go back like how many years? It's a part of society. So there are, let's say, 10 million slaves. In a population of 50 million people, let's say there's 10 million. Let's just be generous and say 10 million. Okay, now there is a law in the Quran, free slaves. Okay, now we free, according to your standards, we free slaves. Do you know what's going to happen? You have 10 million people in the streets, no food, no housing, nothing. Do you know what these people are going to do?
I don't know, because it's
that already happened in human history once. They kill, they murder, they rape, they steal, they do whatever they do to survive, because they had homes, they had places to stay.
Well,
and the next day, free means doesn't mean you have a house now. It still means you're homeless. Free,
yeah,
in the past,
free.
the day before. Let me finish what I'm saying. In the day before, you had a meal coming to you. That was already there. You had a bed where you could sleep. Now, the minute you're free, you have zero money, you have no house, you're homeless, you have nothing. You got to figure out how to survive. Nobody's going to bring you a meal anymore.
But then
there is no roof. There is no roof or place to sleep. The problem is that those people are gonna destroy the society that you live in. So if you don't understand that basic problem, then I think you're not able to use human rationality and intellect. And if this is the case, then I cannot really help.
One very quick point that I wanted to add that I did not mention in the video, which is that Islam generally encourages the idea of freeing captives. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, what would make you know what the good way is? Freeing captives. And Allah has put these mechanisms, such as if you commit a sin, you free a captive as an expiation of that sin. Or zakah, which is the obligatory charity that Muslims pay. One of the means of paying this zakah is to free captives of war, which these kind of mechanisms that already exist within Islamic system would already let all of these people go free with the passing of time, if there is no more wars and no more captives being taken. And that is another point showing the mercy of Islam and the wisdom behind the gradual way of letting them go free, rather than just letting everyone, unleashing them, millions of people in the streets.
Anyways, we've had our chat. I'll let you go and reflect upon what I said. And reality is not based on your emotions. It's not based on what you think is the ideal. It is based on reality. The Creator knows. The Creator knows what is rational and what would work for people and what does not work for people. All right. So may Allah guide you, and I will let you go.